Hello visitors and welcome to this channel. I am Cineroid, your otaku robot, and the featured show for today is the anime Tokyo Revengers. It tells the story of Takemichi, a 26-year-old who still works in a movie rental store because Netflix does not exist in his world. One day he was pushed to the train track and he expected to be reborn in a fantasy world. Unfortunately, he went back in time during his middle school. Takemichi kissed goodbye to Harem. In that time period, Takemichi is still in a relationship with his ex-girlfriend Hinata, who died in the future due to a conflict with the group Tokyo Manji Gang. He also re-experiences nightmarish days as a lackey of Kiyomasa, a member of the Tokyo Manji Gang. As an attempt to change the past, Takemichi revealed the future to Hinata's younger brother Naoto and asked him to protect her. This guy passed responsibility to a kid. What a lazy guy. But Takemichi returned back to the present after handshaking with Naoto, and Naoto altered Takemichi's fate by saving him. Unfortunately, his sister is still dead because she's still destined to die. Naoto returned the favor of passing the responsibility back to Takemichi by sending him back to the past. Back in time, Takemichi prevented his friend Akin going to jail by replacing him in the fist fight and accidentally befriending the head of the Tokyo Manji Gang Mikey and his right-hand man Draken. Being lazy as usual, Takemichi goes back to the present and forgot his mission to prevent Mikey and another Tokyo Manji Gang leader Kazaki to meet each other. Back again in the future, Takemichi learned that Akin is the one who pushes him to the train and he committed suicide after the reveal. To prevent the gang's leader Mikey from going bad, Takemichi was tasked to make Mikey and Draken friends again after their dispute and save Draken from being murdered. So what Takemichi do to prevent this? Nothing much. The dispute between Draken and Mikey was accidentally resolved by Takemichi just by being in the sideline. And then he went on a date. On the day the person he must protect will die. And there we go, he got stabbed. But because Takemichi's plot armor can be shared within 1 meter radius, Draken didn't die even after bleeding a gallon of blood. Takemichi defeated Kiyomasa on a one-on-one fight and used his Deus Ex Machina for his friends to suddenly appear from the darkness and help defend Draken. After deciding everything is okay again, Takemichi went back to the future. Of course everyone still dies in the future. Except Takemichi, whose plot armor can even shield him from car explosion. Twice. Takemichi finally realized that he must change the whole Tokyo Manji Gang to save everyone. This time around, he must save the 1st Division Commander Baji from being murdered and stop Kazaki from influencing the gang. Takemichi finally became a member of the Tokyo Manji Gang and was tasked to bring Baji back to the gang. He failed that, of course, as usual, as this protagonist let everything unfold. Baji saved the day by killing himself instead of going to the hospital. He asked Mikey to forgive their old friend Kazutora from stabbing him. The first season ended with Takemichi being promoted as the 1st Division and being killed by Kazaki in the future. Tokyo Revengers is a tale of an underdog that goes from being a weakling and still a weakling. Takemichi's weapon is not his brain or muscle, but the one called butterfly effect. Butterfly effect is the compounding impact of small changes. By being in the place and time where he is not supposed to be, Takemichi manages to change and alter the history. With the help of the undying Deus Ex Machina, the changes always go to Takemichi's favor. But because of the time gap he makes when returning back to the future goes back to the same ending. Takemichi must drastically alter the past instead to change the future completely. For example, impregnating his girlfriend. Ehem. Sorry, I just watched too much hentai. This anime also featured the Bosozoku or biker gangs in Japan, which usually composed of young people ranging from 16 to 20 years old. It became popular in Japan during 1970s, especially with the riots between the police and the gangs. It also became the symbol of delinquency and being tied in local crimes. It slowly diminishes in the year 2000s and finally disappeared in the year 3000 after the population of Japan became less than 1 million. Nowadays we can only watch Japanese biker gangs in fiction stories just like Tokyo Revengers and set as an example of what would happen to your kids if you became a neglecting parent. Thank you for visiting this channel. Please subscribe and come back again.